What you strapping? It is the NTH Amphion Commando. This is, I believe, the second version of this model line, the Amphion, which is basically, you can see, especially from the dial, it's a MilSub homage. But the other one that I believe they had before, I think it was just called the Amphion, was more, even more so, with the black bezel that's fully graduated, much like the Rolex MilSub was. But this is relatively new. Saw it as like I was really attracted to. Well, the MilSub style is, it's the style of dial is always nice, but I like stainless steel bezels as well, and I like how this one has actually a rather unique countdown bezel, as you can see, and it's in combination with a secondary time zone with the 12-hour indicator on the outer edge of the bezel. So you can use it for two purposes: countdown or a pseudo GMT. I'm going to get into this watch a little bit later. This is not a review. These are never reviews. They're just watch of the day with strap of choice. Since this is new, I like to always present it on the original strap option before I start changing it up. And it's just on the NTH oyster style bracelet, which I like it. I don't know why people think it's crappy, but it's like fully articulated, so all these links are actually separate, not joined like many oyster styles can be. They're solid end links, solid middle clasp, or at least the folding portion of it, and it works well. And I can't wait to try this on other straps, because you can imagine with the drilled lug holes and this general style, it'll be quite a good strap monster. Just quickly to state, I believe, obviously this is an homage watch, but I think it's a mix of various homages. It's not just primarily a MilSub mod, which the original Amphion was. This is Commando. The bezel is the main change, but it does make quite a difference. And there is a day and date version, but unfortunately the date version, which is at the 6, would have been great, but it wasn't in like white. It was in black, so I don't know. Maybe if the indices were more white, it would have matched a little bit more. And they are showing up a bit green now, but they've just been freshly charged from the sunlight, so I think it's giving off more of that. But if they had the date down there in white with it match, I think it would match more than just black, which leaves a bit of a negative space in the 6 o'clock area, which is okay. But this type of design kind of warrants a more complete look, and I think that date window would have helped visually make it look a little bit more symmetrical all the way around without a gap in the dial, I suppose you could say. But it is what it is. So I got the no date version, and luckily, I thought they originally, when they used to do two versions, they still stick in a Miyota 9015, but and so you have a ghost position when you release, unscrewed it pop out, and then when you pull it out a little bit further, there will be a first kind of click or lock, and that will be for your date, and then you pull it out again for the hack and set the time. But this doesn't have it. It has the Miyota 90S5, I believe, is the model of the movement, which is a no date version. So once you pull it out, unscrew the crown rather, and you pull out the crown, it'll go straight into hacking and time setting, which is great. So I thought he originally, that is John Keel over at Watchcase, said that this would probably have the 9015, because whenever they have two models that have a date and no date rather, they would just, I think in the past they have reused the same date movement, such as the Miyota 9015, but I guess they don't do that now, which is good. I prefer it this way. That's the way it should be. You don't have a date, no need to put in a movement that does, because you'll never see it, and you get that ghost position, and this does not have that. Anyways, going back to this, it's got definitely that MilSub look to the dial. classic Submariner kind of style of dial layout, and it's got the similar MilSub type of sword hands and that second arrow, like, pointer. Additionally, I think I like this because it gives me a kind of feel for the Black Bay, Tudor Black Bay steel, the non-chronograph version, of course. Just especially from this view, just the way the case and the lugs are kind of shaped, especially with no crown and a little bit larger crown. So I don't know, I guess you can consider this a slightly jumbo crown, and the fact that it has like really simple Submariner style dial as well, but with a date, and of course they have snowflake hands, but it does have, as the name implies, a steel bezel insert. It's just a dive time, your typical, it runs 5, 10, 15 normally across this way for elapsed time, not countdown like this one is. So it has that kind of look, and but it is smaller, 40 millimeters instead of 41. I mean, this one, as well as it's got a much slimmer profile at 11.5, and it has the drilled lug holes, which is great, which Tudor doesn't have either. And it has, I think, the faux rivets, which you know how people feel about that. I'm not the biggest fan of having faux rivets. I'd rather just have them put on a simple plain oyster and not try to do any fake riveting. Lastly, I would say the bezel, the way it's got the dual or combination of countdown and a 12-hour indicator, the way this is, it's the closest thing I can think of, and there's not many watches that have this particular configuration. Very few, but the only one that comes to mind immediately is there is a Tag Heuer Heritage model for the Autavia. It's a Jack Heuer limited edition. It's a Panda dial chronograph, but you'll know what I mean. It has a black bezel, a rotating one, but it does have a dual, a dual 12-hour and countdown on that bezel insert for that watch, and so it gives me sort of that feel too. So that's fine with me. I like that watch a lot too. So it's got, for me, that those are the main three watches that it kind of combines, and it's remixed, and I think it looks original and enough to itself that yeah, it's pretty cool. All right, that's about it. I will catch you in the next.